Evening. Day 14 of going sober for October. 14 days straight. 2 weeks. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? Well, it's quite an achievement. It's up there with some of my finest achievements, and really one, I'd put it up there with the time I went in search of the elusive golden moth of the Congo, and this was back in my youth, back in the early 70s. There we were. It was me and Peter, who owns a garden shop, and a couple of other mates. It was a bit of a dare, really. Like they said, we were out at the pub one night, and my mate Tony, who lives on top of the electrical shop in Haverfordwest, he dared me. He dared me to say, "You'll never find this moth. You'll never find the golden moth of the Congo." And I said, "You know what? You're on, mate. I'll find it. I will find it. I'll get out there. I got on the next flight next day. 4 of us got out there. On the next flight to Congo. Right, we were in the jungle in the Congo. Of course, we weren't the only ones looking for this moth. There was another rival crew, led by this, this aristocrat chap, Cornelius Blundergun. He was. Oh, he was a nightmare. He kept showing up, and he was so smug. Like one point he turned up and he was riding on the back of a lion. All right, he tamed a lion. He said, well, he bought a lion, and as a young cub, and he rode it around like like he owned the joint, and there we are. So we had a bit of a rivalry going. We killed a couple of his goons, in response, in retaliation. He got these like blood sucking leeches to drop on us while we were sleeping one night, and there's a bit of back and forth. I suppose these days, they probably class it as banter, but in those days there was no such thing. And so, it was all pretty serious. And eventually, I found this moth. I found the moth. It was hiding in a tree. And I put it in. I had to hide it in case we got hounded down by Cornelius and his crew. And I hid it in my shoe. All right, and then we're going through. So then we got back to the airport quick as we could, and we had a bit of a chase. A bit of a chase going on. We were in our little golf buggy, and and he's riding a lion, getting after us, and then we make it just in time to the airport, and then we got to go through the scanner, and then I'll go through the scanner, and then I go off, all right. And the alarm goes off, and I'm thinking, oh Christ, they're going to find the golden moth in my shoe, all right. And then they get the security officers like, do you have anything to declare, like any golden moths, for example? And I'm like, oh, we're rumbled, and I'm like, no, don't have any golden moths on me. And then the security guy's like, oh, all right, I was just wondering. And then he let us go. And then just as I was getting on the plane, just going through the terminal, I turn around, and who's coming round the corner on his lion? It's Cornelius Blundergun. Yeah, and his crew, like a pack of hyenas. They look like right wallies. And then security's like stopping them, going, oh, you can't get on the plane with a lion, it will eat people, and he's like, no, it's a domesticated lion. And they're like, no, they're an endangered species, you're a wally. And we just get on the plane, we have a glass of champagne, and I check my shoe, And I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake, I've squashed it, I've squashed them off, and all that. So I've killed the bleeding thing.